So the biggest advantage of using a closed face reel such as this is float fishing on rivers. The fact that you've got a push button release instead of a bale arm means that you can actually operate the reel one-handed. So when you're catching lots of small fish on a stick float or a waggler, it's extremely easy to operate and also manage the line. Now the engage on the bale arm as well is extremely smooth. So just by turning the handle, you engage the bale arm and you're connected to the fish. So for trotting, floats on rivers, the closed face reel is by far the easiest reel to master. It's also very important to note that when you've got tough conditions, like when it's very windy like today, a closed face reel will help reduce the number of tangles you get. Because of the fact that the spool is hidden inside the reel, it prevents line from wrapping around the reel and tangling. So it really is a hassle-free reel for float fishing on rivers. Just wanted to give you a couple of tips to think about when you're using a closed face reel. One of them, which people often make the mistake of, is overfilling the reel. Now I actually underfill my spools for my closed face reels. In this case I've just got 80 metres of 016 line on, and what this does do is it pretty much eliminates any chance of the line getting tangled or bedding in and causing problems during fishing. It's quite common for people to fill it up like you would with an open face reel, and that's a recipe for disaster. So that's something I must emphasise, is don't put too much line on the reel. The other thing that will help with, which can be a bit of a disadvantage with closed face reels, is it actually reduces the amount of line bedding in on the spool. So if you are catching a few better fish and you're playing the fish, the line can bed in. So if you've only got 60 or 80 metres of line on it, you're less likely to have these problems. So that's a really important point to consider when you're thinking about closed face reels. It sounds simple, but I thought I'd just explain how to actually set up your new Abu 706 reel. First thing you need to do is take the outer housing off. Then you've got the actual rotor here. Now, it's important to note that there's a gear lock situated here on the right hand side of the reel. To remove the rotor easily and effectively, you just press the button, and that means that the rotor will unscrew very easily without damaging any of the gears. So, take your line off the spool and then screw the rotor back on. Now you need to ensure that you screw it on nice and tight. So I'd ensure that the drag's well done, and then I'd tighten the rotor against the drag. So you can see now the drag's working, but more importantly the rotor is nice and secure, so it won't come loose when you're fishing. And then it's just a matter of simply passing the line back through the housing and putting the housing back on. So there you go. The line comes from the front of the reel, and by pressing the release button, the line's free. So that's like opening the bale arm on your reel. And then just to simply engage the bale arm, turn the handle, and you're back in business. So it really is a very, very simple process and a very simple reel, but one that takes a little bit of getting used to if you've never used one before. So as I mentioned, the closed face reel found massive favour with stick float anglers in the past, and still used quite exclusively in some cases today. The fact that the reel is so compact and easy to use when stick float fishing is its biggest advantage. As you can see, it's easy to control the float with the finger, and everything's automatic. It's like a one-handed operation, so it both saves time and makes trotting floats much easier. I'm having to use quite a long rod today, a 17-foot rod, and it's a 6 No. 4 stick float because the wind's affecting this peg quite badly. So as I mentioned, when trotting on a river with a stick float or a waggler, closed face reels make the operation so much easier. The fact that you can operate the bale arm single-handedly It means you can constantly be in touch with the flow, engaging, disengaging. When you do hook a fish, the process is so smooth that you don't bump the fish off. That can be a problem when you're using an open face reel, when the actual bale arm clonks over and knocks the fish off in that critical moment. So it just shows you, I've been catching a few small roach and looks like I got myself a decent chub. So even though closed face reels like this 706 are designed for catching small fish quickly, they still will handle bigger fish, like this chub. Hey, there we go. Not a problem. What a nice chub that is. And what a bonus that would be in a match. So there you go, decent chub around about 3 to 4 pounds. Taken with light balanced tackle and using the new Abu 706 closed face reel. Just goes to show that this reel isn't only designed for catching small fish, that's its forte. It will handle catching bigger fish such as this chub or barbel. Just take your time and you should be able to land fish just like that.